Part 16. After the wife of a wealthy family was read by her mind, the melon field was full of wild animals. Author, Xuanhuan. Chapter 151. After Peng Li finished speaking, she waited for the Qin family to respond, but no one responded for a long time. Peng Li froze in her action of touching the necklace, and looked at everyone in confusion. Everyone looked at her with a subtle expression. What do you mean? You are not willing to help even with this little favor? Peng Li looked at Qin's mother unhappily, as if Qin's mother was not considerate enough. Qin's mother said speechlessly, have you never been online? The last person who wanted to get someone out of the entertainment industry has been expelled from the family. Qin's father also smiled and said, and they also looked for our daughter-in-law, and the ending was. Others smiled at Jifei, who looked innocent. Peng Li immediately said righteously, how can it be the same? Just because we have known each other for many years, shouldn't your younger generation give me, an elder, face? Qin's family didn't like the tone of Peng Li's speech. Jifei couldn't help but complain, give you face? Have you given the younger generation of the Qin family New Year's money or something? Why should I give you face? I have no idea why Jifei's brain circuit would think of lucky money. But, it seems to make sense. Qin Chao said that he had never received 100 yuan. What kind of elder is he? Why do you need him to help you? What a joke. Peng Li saw that she had finished speaking, but there was still no response, and she was a little angry. Ho Lan, do you believe it? I will tell your parents that you are not willing to help me with this little favor. The younger generation of the Qin family was really shocked when facing the elders who would sue their parents. And Qin's mother, who was used to it, said, our Qin family never bullies others. What's more, this is related to the future reputation of our family Fifei in the entertainment industry. Unless she doesn't care, once she intervenes, she will definitely be the judge of the entertainment industry, and she will judge fairly and never show favoritism. Jifei was immediately wrapped in a kind of embarrassment of a middle school atmosphere. Qin's mother has also been poisoned by the internet, it's so embarrassing. Qin's mother ignored Jifei's complaints and looked proud. Others in the Qin family couldn't help laughing. Peng Li probably didn't expect that such a small matter would make Qin's mother so disrespectful, but she quickly reacted. What bullying? I don't think so. I just came to tell you that Sun Man has a problem with her character and remind you, the judge, to deal with her well in the next issue. Don't let her escape, so that she won't continue to confuse my godson. The Qin family knew that Peng Li had a godson, but they were too lazy to pay attention to her affairs, so they never knew who her godson was. They only knew that her pampering of her godson was a famous joke. It can be said that a large part of the reason for her divorce was because of her godson. Peng Li actually had a daughter with her ex-husband, but gradually her husband's family found that Peng Li didn't care about her daughter at all, and didn't get close to her. Instead, she spoiled her godson as a baby. If it wasn't blood relationship, there would be no problem, but it would really arouse suspicion. However, just because there is no problem, this unfair treatment is really chilling. In the end, after Peng Li ignored her daughter again and again, causing her daughter to have serious mental illness, her husband's family was determined to divorce. Even if they found another stepmother without feelings, it would be better than this biological mother. After the divorce, the daughter was awarded to her father and almost cut off contact with her. It was not that the other family was cruel, but Peng Li really didn't like her daughter and didn't want to contact her at all. Someone asked why. Her answer was that she dreamed that her daughter was her enemy in her previous life, born to rob her of everything, and would make her ruined and imprisoned. This weird argument was not completely ridiculed, because rich people sometimes really believe in weird things. And now she came to ask Qin Ma, whom she disliked, for help for a godson. It's really better to have a biological daughter than a godson. This really made the whole Qin family curious. Why did they recognize Lang Zhe as a godson? Ji-Fei was also curious, so she started to eat melons. Peng Li was chattering over there, offering all kinds of ways to encourage them to deal with Sun Man, as if she was Lang Zhe's biological mother, playing the role of an evil mother-in-law who didn't like her son's partner. The Qin family was absent-minded because Ji-Fei started to nag. Ah, so that's it. Peng Li used to be a star-chasing girl, the dream girl of Lang Zhe's father, Lang Shidi. Recently, they often eat melons, and some terms are not unfamiliar to the Qin family. They instantly understood what they meant. So this is loving the house and the dog. Because Lang Shidi and teacher Lu have been together for a long time, even if Peng Li used money to pursue Lang Shidi crazily, she was still firmly rejected by the other party, and the two of them were not afraid of Peng Li. Although Peng Li was a rich lady, they also had a military background, so Peng Li didn't dare to do too much and could only regretfully withdraw. It was just that when Lang Zhe was 6 or 7 years old, Lang Shidi died. Peng Li was very sad, so she had to take care of Lang Zhe with teacher Lu, and forcibly recognized him as a godson, and then she would love him as her own son. The Qin family really had no strength to complain. And Ji-Fei continued. I just laughed. It turns out Peng Li suddenly came to the Qin family because she was angry. I was wondering why the visit was so abrupt. The Qin family members immediately became curious, angry. What are they angry about? I'm not saying that, after getting along with Sun Man, her biological mother, teacher Lu, thinks Sun Man is good, but you, as her godmother, are opposed to it. After Lang Zhe also expressed his desire to reconcile with Sun Man, you actually came here in anger and wanted to stop Lang Zhe from our side. I just want to say that there is no need to do that. Sun Man doesn't want to step into the fire pit. The Qin family was a little surprised. They didn't expect that. In the eyes of netizens, the evil mother-in-law didn't embarrass Sun Man as expected, but was very satisfied after getting along. It seems that she is also a fair person. It's a pity that teacher Lu didn't know that her son was a bad seed, but Sun Man knew it, so it was useless for her to be satisfied. But this Peng Li really treated him as her own son. She interfered with his friendships. Did she want to control her child's life? But then again, how did Lang Zhe become bad? His mother didn't know, and his godmother didn't seem to know either. What did Sun Man see through before she chose to break up? At this time, Peng Li had finished speaking with a dry mouth. Seeing that everyone looked absent-minded, she was immediately angry. Are you listening to me? Everyone perfunctorily said that they listened. If it weren't for the melon related to the next game between Ji-Fei and Qin Xiao, they would not bother to entertain guests. The expressions of the people made Peng Li choke. If it weren't for her baby son, she wouldn't come here to suffer this anger. It's all Lu Fei's fault. In the past, Lu Fei would have found out the problems of other girls and chased them away without her doing anything, so Lang Zhe was not led astray. How come she didn't see that Sun Man had a problem? If she hadn't promised Lang Zhe to keep the matter secret, she would have called the police to arrest Sun Man. Window. Tabula equals window. Tabula. Tabula.push, mode, thumbs feed -01, container, tabula below article thumbnail -300x250, placement, below article thumbnail -300x250, target. Type, mix. After the wife of a wealthy family was read by her mind, the melon field was full of wild animals. Author, Xuanhuan. Chapter 152. Seeing Peng Li's indignation, Qin's mother said directly, you said there is something wrong with Sun Man's character. Why is there something wrong? Peng Li paused, thought for a moment and said, isn't it rumored that she evaded taxes? Qin's mother was speechless and said, you really don't use the internet. If a celebrity really evades taxes, he will basically not be able to do business. She is still active in the entertainment industry, which proves that she is fine. How is that possible? I seem to have heard Lang Zhe say that she even paid taxes. Qin Chao said directly, that was something her family workshop did behind her back. She immediately dealt with it after she discovered it after self-investigation. This news has been reported by the official website, so Sun Man has absolutely no problem in this regard, and he has also played a leading role in celebrity self-examination, unlike some celebrities who are really reluctant to pay taxes. No, Sun Man is really miserable. I think the reason why she was easily confused by Lang Zhai is because her original family is unlucky. Her studio was completely controlled by her mother and her uncle before, and she often carried out she did some illegal operations and made her miserable. He didn't care about her hard work and worked hard to make money for her. Even Gao Hao said that Sun Man was squeezed very hard. If she hadn't been dragged down by her relatives, her talents might have been better explored, and after finally finding a boyfriend, I was almost dragged into a deep pit again. The Qin family almost vomited blood when they heard this. What kind of deep pit is it? Why does it always get stuck in key places? As for Peng Li, who was refuted with the reason, she could only say, she has a problem anyway. Qin's mother said impatiently, you just don't like her. Some mothers-in-law just don't like their daughter-in-law, as if they have been robbed of their son's emotions. In this regard, Lu Fei does not have it. On the contrary, Peng Li is seriously ill. Peng Li's expression suddenly turned ugly, her hand unconsciously touched the necklace around her neck, and finally said, it's really troublesome. Okay, I'll tell you, but you have to keep it a secret. I promised my godson not to leave this when things are told. He is a good boy who values love and justice. Even if we break up, he doesn't want to embarrass the other party. But now that Lang Zhe is still so stubborn, I have to stop him, but I hope you will deal with Sun in the future. Don't reveal what I said when you are in trouble. The Qin family really saw how much Peng Li cared about their godson. They were afraid that they would be separated from their godson because of another woman. Because once when Lang Zhe took her to visit me, she actually tried to steal this necklace from me. As Peng Li spoke, anger rose on her face, and she pressed her hand on the pile of large, round pearls. How greedy! Is this a thief with unclean hands and feet a moral problem? How could it be? Qin's mother said immediately. After all, they have heard so much about Sun Man, and the Qin family all feel that Sun Man should be a down-to-earth, hard-working, law-abiding, and pure person. Peng Li said angrily, I wanted to take out the necklace and give it to the woman, so I took her to the room where I kept the jewelry. But during dinner, the aunt said that the necklace was missing, so I mobilized the whole family to help. I couldn't find it after searching for a long time. Just when I was about to call the police, the necklace suddenly appeared in the toilet. I had clearly looked for it myself before, so why did it suddenly appear again? She must have taken it because she was afraid. It came out. When I got it, it still had body temperature on it. I wanted to get her to call the police at that time, but Lang Zhe stopped me. After that, they broke up, and I didn't care about it. Who knew that my stupid kid wanted to get back together with this thief again? I didn't dare to think about her later. How could he covet my jewelry? This kind of thief must not be with Lang Zhe. The indignation that Peng Li spoke of clearly meant that this had really happened. Did the little girl really commit theft in a moment of confusion? Always feeling incredible? Real or false? I don't believe it. Let me check. Seeing Ji Fei take action, everyone also actively participated in the discussion. She admitted it, Qin Rong verified anxiously. Peng Li said, it's not like she caught the current situation. She refuses to admit it? That means there is no evidence. Could it be someone else? Qin Yan also asked. You mean our aunts? They have taken care of me for many years, how is that possible? Peng Li retorted. Did you accidentally take it to the bathroom? Qin Chao asked suspiciously. Do you think I'm an old fool? Peng Li became even more angry. At this time, Qin Xian rarely opened his mouth and analyzed, this kind of unique jewelry is useless if stolen. Once it appears, it will definitely arouse suspicion, not to mention that she is a public figure. Unless she is short of money and wants to steal it and sell it, but according to her she will not be short of money because of her earning power, or else it is a private hobby and she likes collecting, but the probability of taking such a risk is too small. Just as Qin Xian finished speaking, he felt Ji Fei next to him suddenly look over. He turned around and met a pair of bright eyes, which reflected him completely and seemed to be sparkling, which immediately made his heart beat faster. Qin Xian is so awesome. Faced with such a straightforward compliment, Qin Xian suddenly felt a little hot. The Qin family members were all excited and began to take crazy peeks at the interaction between the two. However, Ji Fei looked at Qin Xian in surprise, but her heart was already exploding. The analysis is too accurate, just to steal and sell it. The Qin family was shocked and couldn't react. Could it really be? But the thief was not Sun Man, nor those ants, but Lang Jie, the only one Peng Li could not have imagined. The Qin family was stunned, and at the same time they breathed a sigh of relief. It always felt more reasonable. No wonder Lang Jie was so opposed to Peng Li pursuing the matter. He was not defending his girlfriend at all. He was afraid that he would leave some evidence and be discovered. But it was so strange. Was he short of money? Peng Li doted on him so much, but he still stole things. If he wanted money, he could just ask for it directly. Maybe Peng Li would give it to him. Just when his mind was full of question marks, Ji Fei finally acted like a human being and gave a direct answer. So that's why it was because Teacher Lu was too strict in discipline, so it was impossible for him to give him money without limit. He would also check the money Peng Li gave him, making it very difficult for him to spend money freely. That's why he thought about stealing things. He didn't dare to steal the most valuable pearl necklace. Who made him have too many gambling debts, and he not only wanted to pay off his debts, but also wanted to get his money back to the gambling table, so he set his sights on the most valuable pearl necklace. The Qin family took a deep breath. So that's why Lang Jie is a gambler. And he is a gambler who hides himself very deeply. Bringing Sun Man with him was just a cover, because he knew that his godmother liked to show off and would definitely take them to see jewelry, so he could steal it when she left. After being discovered, he would cry for his girlfriend and let his godmother soften her heart and not pursue it, or he could win it back to make up for it, but he didn't expect to be discovered so quickly, so he had to give up. The Qin family immediately had a basic understanding of the so-called bad seed. But soon, the understanding deepened. Oh, I understand, it was because the theft plan failed that he had to bite the bullet and borrow money from Sun Man. It was the startup capital borrowed in the name of holding a concert. The Qin family immediately had a guess, could it be that he borrowed money and didn't pay it back? Soon, Sun Man found out that the other party didn't hold a concert at all. After getting along with him privately and investigating carefully, she found out that her boyfriend was a senior gambler, and he gambled very hard. He had borrowed money from many people. She knew that her money would not be returned, after all, there was no IOU. She was a smart girl, knowing that gamblers who gambled to this extent would never turn back, so she immediately cut off her tail and survived. The Qin family couldn't help but sigh. She was a girl who knew when to make a decision. But 10 million. This guy got it so cheaply. Sure enough, she's still a stupid girl. I get angry every time I see her. He even shamelessly wants to get back together, maybe he wants to make her a scapegoat again, pay the money back first, bastard. At this point, Peng Li still doubts Sun Man. It's depressing to think about it, otherwise. After talking for so long, I didn't mention Lang Jie. How come he has an alibi? Auntie, as the saying goes, it's hard to prevent thieves at home even if you guard against them day and night. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. After the wife of a wealthy family was read by her mind, the melon field was full of wild animals. Author, Xuanhuan. Chapter 153. Ji-Fei suddenly said this, which immediately made Peng Li furious. Obviously, he treated his godson as his eyeball. What nonsense are you talking about? How could he be my godson? Ji-Fei curled her lips. It's your godson, it's. The Qin family was amused. As a result, Peng Li thought that everyone was laughing at her, and immediately said angrily, do you also suspect my godson? What do I not give to my godson? Do I need him to steal? It's really a brainless pampering, but he dare not ask you for it. Once he asks for it, Teacher Lu will know that he gambles, and he dare not expose this matter. Ah, Peng Li, don't worry, even if the police investigate the case, they will suspect everyone present as a suspect. My Fei doesn't know your godson. It's reasonable to have such a guess. Do you have evidence to prove that Lang has never been to your treasure room? Qin's mother said slowly. When Qin's mother said this, Peng Li choked immediately. After all, she did take Sun Man and Lang Zhe to the room at that time, and it can be said that her main attention was on Sun Man at that time, wanting to show off her godmother's strength to Sun Man. As for Lang Zhe, she really couldn't remember what Lang Zhe was doing at that time. Peng Li was dazed for a moment, but soon she stood up again as if she remembered something. Okay, if you don't believe it, let's talk about the facts. At that time, only Sun Man was carrying a bag, and the clothes she wore were also the type that was easy to hide things, but Lang Zhe was only wearing a simple basketball uniform. How could he steal my necklace in public? Having said that, the Qin family members imagined carefully. Such a large string of pearls, no matter where it was hidden, should have a large part protruding. After the necklace was lost, everyone was so anxious to find it. No one is blind. If it was really on Lang Zhe, it would be easy to find. Thinking of this, the Qin family members couldn't help but feel curious. In this kind of scene where no one was involved, they could only rely on Ji-Fei to solve the case. Fortunately, Ji-Fei was also very curious. You are quite good at arguing, let me check how he stole it. Wait. Ji-Fei's voice suddenly rose, shocking the Qin family members present. Hum, oh my god. Qin family, what? Why are you screaming? Everyone stole a glance at Ji-Fei frantically, and saw that Ji-Fei's eyes were staring at Peng Li's necklace, as if his pupils were trembling, and then he looked at Peng Li's hand, as if he always caressed the pearl's hand habitually before, and then looked at the teacup that Peng Li had brought. This series of glances made the Qin family almost die of curiosity. Only Ji-Fei shouted in his heart with the tone of surviving a disaster, so lucky. Fortunately Peng Li was arrogant enough and didn't think about the etiquette of shaking hands after entering the door, otherwise our family's hands would be in trouble. Qin family, huh? Who would have thought that such an expensive pearl necklace would have been in that kind of place? Qin family, why do you have a bad premonition? What kind of place? Lang Zhe can't be gay, right? He's so unfathomable. The Qin family members who reacted a little bit late, wait, what? It seems that they are not mentally prepared enough to digest these keywords to get the answer. The Qin family members who reacted quickly. Isn't it, all? Each of those pearls is as big as a 1 yuan coin, and there are a total of 20 or 30. Impossible, this is absolutely impossible. Oh, I'm scared to death, I said it's impossible. Everyone breathed a sigh of relief and almost choked to death on the melon. How could a man do such a thing to steal a necklace? Ji-Fei must have seen it wrong. With so many, how could they all be stuffed in, and the remaining part was tied to the body, just like wearing a thong, so it can't be seen. My brain, stop imagining, I didn't think of that kind of picture, I'm just a broken melon eater, dissipate, dissipate. The Qin family members, too late, can they control the speed of their brains? Besides, the brain cannot understand negative words. If you don't let it think, it will definitely think. Ah, go away, go away. Suddenly I remembered what Peng Li said before, that the pearl necklace was still warm when it was found. It's probably not just warm. Everyone suddenly looked at the pearl necklace on Peng Li's neck. Is it a psychological effect or a lighting effect? Does the pearl have a slightly yellowish luster? Peng Li saw that everyone's faces suddenly became brilliant, as if stimulated by something, and she immediately became dissatisfied. What do you mean? I said this, you still don't believe Langzhe? Just like most parents would never believe that their children have problems, Peng Li also didn't believe it at all. The Qin family looked at Peng Li with a trace of sympathy. Peng Li was even more puzzled, especially when she noticed that they kept looking at her necklace, so she instinctively raised her hand to touch the necklace. But she heard the sound of everyone gasping. What's wrong with this family? She still touched it, she actually touched it, it's too miserable. The Qin family looked even more pitiful. Especially Qin's mother, after all, I have known her for so many years, I really can't bear it. But I can't remind her, I can only mourn for her in my heart. Speaking of which, this necklace was bought by her ex-husband, and the ownership belongs to her ex-husband. When they divorced, she wanted to share this priceless necklace, but her ex-husband said that as long as she did not fight for the custody of her daughter, the necklace would be given to her. She decisively agreed. Tut tut tut. The Qin family did not expect that this necklace had such a hidden story. Suddenly, their sympathy for Peng Li faded. Hey, what do you mean? Why are you looking at me like that? Peng Li was finally scared by their gaze. There are too many ways to hide things. You can't say that he can't hide because he wears less. Qin's mother said lightly. Huh, did Qin's mother also think of that way? Qin's mother choked immediately, she didn't. Qin's father coughed quickly, anyway, we were not at the scene, so we can't judge. You guys, Peng Li was angry. If I say that since they have broken up, they are completely unrelated people. There is no need to trouble her, Qin Chao said impatiently. Humph. The breakup must be because she felt guilty about stealing, but Langzhe liked her too much and wanted to be with her. He was so obsessed with her that he couldn't eat or drink. Of course he would be so obsessed with her after all. The victim who helped him pay off his gambling debts for free disappeared. If he didn't get her back, how could he continue gambling under Mr. Lu's nose? Unfortunately, this information was obtained indirectly from others. If I had met Langzhe, I would check whether he still owed gambling debts. After the wife of a wealthy family was read by her mind, the melon field was full of wild animals. Author, Xuanhuan. Chapter 154. Because I have never met him, I can't see it from his own perspective. The Qin family also expressed regret for this. But Peng Li is still lobbying hard. I can't let this bitch continue to confuse Langzhe's heart, I must destroy her. I'm not from your entertainment industry, so I can't find anything dirty about her, but a girl with her character must have hidden a lot of evil. Check out the secrets of telling people, and use the stage to expose them, just like the previous ones. Let that stupid woman Lu Fei open her eyes and see what she thinks is good, and see if she doesn't listen to my advice in the future. Peng Li was so proud as she said this, leaving the Qin family speechless for a while. If we can't find any black material, could it be that she doesn't have any black material? Qin Yan questioned softly. Dare to continue to stay on this stage is basically proof. Qin Rong couldn't help but said, Auntie, it's true that you haven't watched the previous show at all. It's obviously your godson who wants to get back Sun Man. What you should do is not stop your godson. Why do you always like to get back from the show? The fault lies with the passive woman. It's obviously your baby boy's fault. Probably because she has watched too much, Xuanhuan really can't stand the logic of these people. How can she be so charming and loving to men? The eldest sister and the fourth sister said it is great. The two girls suddenly raised their lips proudly, which made Peng Li blush with anger. I won't talk nonsense to you ignorant kids. Ho Lan. In one sentence, help me or not. Qin's mother's face turned cold. My child is more sensible than you. These words completely offended Peng Li, and she stood up angrily. The movement was so big that the pearl necklace swayed around her neck, which immediately attracted everyone's attention. Peng Li was about to curse when she saw Qin's mother looking straight at her necklace. She suddenly sneered and said, "Oh, I know. You are just angry that you can't compare to me in some things, so you deliberately don't help. It's too much Xiajiazi is angry." As she said that, Peng Li raised her neck, wanting to show off the pearl necklace around her neck from 360 degrees. It can be said that in the circle of ladies in the city, there are few who can surpass her in terms of jewelry. Seeing Peng Li's show-off face, everyone in the Qin family just wanted to shout, "Stop this horrible act." They really don't want to look carefully anymore, they can't help but fantasize. "Auntie, do you have nothing else to show off except this necklace?" Qin Chao was really afraid that if he looked at it one more time, he couldn't help but think of some weird scene that would stain his brain. Peng Li choked up immediately, feeling ashamed and angry that she had been exposed, and said, "How come you, a junior, are so rude? How did your family teach you?" Before Qin Chao could retort, he heard Ji Fei say, "That's right, third child, you don't know how to be polite." Qin Chao immediately stared at Ji Fei, and the other Qin family members also looked at her. But Peng Li laughed and was about to say a few more words. As a result, Ji Fei continued, "You are telling the truth in front of others. Isn't this just trampling on Auntie's face? Don't expose other people's shortcomings, how presumptuous." Qin Chao couldn't hold back the sound, but he quickly restrained himself and said with a serious look on his face, "I took the liberty." Looking at the smiles on the faces of the other Qin family members, they couldn't hide their smiles. Peng Li seemed to finally realize that the whole family thought she was a clown. He immediately glared at Ji Fei and said, "Don't think that you are a real young lady by tricking yourself into the Qin family. You are just a beggar without a dowry. If you dare to be so rude, you will be punished sooner or later." There were many people present who criticized her, but the only one she really dared to fight back was Ji Fei, because Ji Fei had no natal family. In the eyes of outsiders, she relied on the Qin family for survival and was an outsider who could be abandoned at any time. So Peng Li picked a soft persimmon and pinched it. But she didn't notice that the Qin family's faces changed when she said the first sentence. Qin Xian suddenly interrupted, "Ms. Peng. I don't even call her aunt, I just call her lady." The voice is low and full of coldness, allowing people to accurately recognize the anger buried under the words of the other party. Peng Li was stunned by the cold tone for almost an instant, and looked in astonishment at the heir to a wealthy family who was considered the most exemplary by everyone. With just one glance, he was frightened by the intimidating look in his eyes. "Ms. Peng spoke rudely to my wife and offended my wife. She deserves an apology," Qin Xian said calmly. As soon as these words came out, Peng Li was dumbfounded. "You must be an elder. She must be an old acquaintance of his mother's for many years. Why is he talking to me like that?" Peng Li's breath stagnated, and she turned to look at Qin's mother, asking her to discipline her child. As a result, not only Qin's mother, but also other Qin family members looked at her coldly, and their attitude was obviously unanimous. Peng Li simply couldn't understand. "I just scolded the rude junior. Do I not have the qualifications based on the relationship between the Peng family and the Ho family?" "What qualifications do you have, my precious daughter-in-law, who we as husband and wife are reluctant to scold?" Qin's father said directly. Qin's mother sneered, "What happened to the Peng family? You go back to your own family to show off your authority. Fei Fei is still the next wife of our Qin family. Qin Chao sneered and said, the status in the Qin family is higher than that of our other brothers and sisters. I'm afraid Ms. Peng didn't understand her position clearly. Qin Yan and Qin Rong also nodded angrily. Ji Fei was already stunned by this scene. It was just an ordinary bickering, and she was ready to fight back, so why did it become like this? However, Ji Fei's mind was in a mess, but a warm current surged in her heart. This was a feeling she had never experienced in her previous life. It was like falling into soft cotton that had been dried in the sun, warm and soft. Qin Xian looked stern and said coldly under Peng Li's almost incredible eyes, Ms. Peng, are you still not going to apologize? Peng Li was immediately enraged. Just as she was about to scold back, she heard Qin Xian coldly say, it seems that the Peng family doesn't want the piece of land they have recently taken a fancy to. This sentence directly made Peng Li gasp. She was still able to live well after the divorce, naturally because the Peng family was good. Recently, the Peng family was fighting for a piece of land, which was known to everyone in the circle. She had naturally heard about it, and she also understood that the Qin family had the strength to do so. If they lost the land because of her, wouldn't it be? Peng Li immediately panicked and said, what are you talking about? The Peng family and your grandfather's Ho family are old friends. You are threatening me, an elder, so you are not afraid that your grandparents will know? Qin Xian did not refute but chose to say directly, it seems that you don't want the hotel chain project. Peng Li's pupils shrank, and an invisible pressure made her body tremble uncontrollably. Qin Xian almost didn't give her a chance to argue, with a cold face, pretending to take the phone. As a result, the next second, Peng Li heard, I apologize, I apologize. There was no time for her to make trouble, she just knew that she had no choice. Qin Xian stopped and looked at him coldly. A noble lady, at this age, was actually suppressed by the younger generation and couldn't breathe. Her eyes were red with humiliation, but she could only bow her head and admit her mistakes. At this moment, she finally understood that the reason she had angered Qin's mother before was just a small fight, just a comparison, and she did not offend Qin's mother. If she had insulted her mother in the same way, she would definitely end up like this. It seemed that she finally understood that the so-called Peng family was actually not at the same level as the low-key wealthy family like the Qin family. It's just that they never use their power to show off. If I had known earlier, I wouldn't have come. I'm sorry. I said the wrong thing. Although she said it with gritted teeth, it was still said. After she finished speaking, she was so angry that tears came out. Without saying a word, she walked away. Before leaving, she couldn't help but say, Ho Lan, we are not friends in the future. Qin's mother shrugged and said, it seems that I want to be friends with her so much. After complaining, she quickly turned her head to look at Ji Fei, worried that those words would make Ji Fei uncomfortable. As a result, she saw Ji Fei staring straight at Qin Xian. Damn, I just saw a living domineering president. This threatening posture is so domineering, there is a sense of déjà vu of Tianliang Wangpo, so handsome. Although it was embarrassing to be said, Qin Xian was still a little happy to be praised. He couldn't help but straighten his sitting posture. Just as he was about to look at Ji Fei and talk, he heard. So handsome that I couldn't help but want to pounce on him and give him a good mua. Qin Xian froze, and when he met Ji Fei's gaze, his face suddenly became hot. She wanted to kiss me. But my family was here. But this was her voice. Most people think before they act, and they might act impulsively right away. Then I definitely can't avoid it. When the other Qin family members who were watching heard this, they reflexively widened their eyes, afraid of missing a second of the scene. What should I do? I'm so nervous. Am I going to witness it? As a result, Ji Fei smiled at Qin Xian, and Qin Xian's mind was shaken by the smile. Thank you. Qin Xian? Ji Fei turned to look at the others. Thank you for defending me. Then she continued to gossip excitedly. She hit a wall here, will she do something else to mess with Sun Man? Everyone, suddenly I don't want to eat other people's gossip so much. Qin Xian, it turns out that some people just want to do nothing. A few days later, I came to the program group to listen to the release of the performance theme. As a result, Ji Fei and his friends just arrived at the scene, and the director and producer came. Just when Ji Fei suspected that they came to warn her not to make trouble, the director smiled and said, there will be a lot of fun later, and then draw lots after watching. What? Pei Mingxian asked curiously. Teacher Lu's son is here, and he prepared a surprise to propose to Sun Man. The producer laughed. Ji Fei and his group. The last person who tried to propose to a girl regardless of her wishes, this is the first time I have seen such a trap. After the wife of a wealthy family was read by her mind, the melon field was full of wild animals. Author, Yuze. Chapter 155. Lang Jia and Sun Man were originally the kind of couple that everyone liked. Because the two never told the public about the reason for their breakup, everyone assumed that Teacher Lu was too difficult to deal with, so Sun Man retreated. But after watching this show, Teacher Lu and Sun Man get along very harmoniously, and everyone is wondering if there is hope for a reunion. At this moment, Lang Jia asked the program team again, and wanted to use their stage to propose. Anyway, he was just here to announce the theme and record it, and it was not a live broadcast. The program team was naturally willing to do this smooth favor, and maybe he could be happy and focus on some good things. Remarks. After all, now my acting skills are stuck. Is too controversial. Although it is highly popular, it is also full of troubles. The director and producer still hope that it will end safely in the end. Except for the person involved, everyone else was notified in place to prevent the atmosphere from being damaged. So? Teacher Lu also knew it, and she approved it, Pei Mingxian asked. The director nodded and said, although his expression is a bit serious, I have no objection. Qin Chao and Qin Rong were both present, so they immediately heard Ji Fei's heartfelt thoughts. I guess, I really didn't object. Teacher Lu already admired Sun Man very much and naturally wanted her to be his daughter-in-law. However, although she didn't object, she didn't really agree after all. She felt that her son had not reconciled with anyone yet. It was a bit difficult to propose on such an occasion, but seeing her son trying so proactively, she wouldn't stop him. I have to say, Teacher Lu, you are sober. This is not just forcing people to do something difficult, this is a daydream. Qin Chao and Qin Rong agreed very much. They didn't even take the step of getting back together, so they wanted to propose directly. Did he really think that Sun Man would agree, and was he just thinking nonsense? But it's okay, I'll see Lang Jia later. I want to see what's inside his walnut-sized brain. Qin Chao and Qin Rong couldn't help laughing. Everyone wanted to join in the excitement, and when they went to the stage, many people gathered together and talked about it. Pei Mingxian was not too happy and sighed quietly. What's wrong? Sister Pei, Ji Fei asked curiously. I originally wanted to poach people. Pei Mingxian frowned. Do you really have this plan? Qin Chao asked in surprise. Don't she have a studio? That kind of grassroots team, Pei Mingxian said. I'm not looking down on family-style studios. I only speak from facts. After Sun Man graduated from the film school, she joined a pretty good film and television company through her mentor's connections. The company's customized development strategy for her was also very good. According to that development, her current achievements will definitely be higher. Unfortunately, there was an uncle and mother who were confused and short-sighted. They thought that actresses were just teenagers and just wanted to make more money while she was in her prime. The original company restricted her from taking jobs, so they encouraged her to open a studio by herself. She is so obedient and has no judgment of her own, so she can't figure it out clearly. Qin Chao said, you can't dig out this situation. Originally, that's what I thought. After all, it's the most troublesome situation where family members like to interfere with the artist's work. But you have also heard about her tax repayment before. Everyone nodded. So I think that although she has been a little kidnapped by family affection, her mind is still clear. Within the scope of what she can endure, she chooses to respect filial piety. If she really can't bear it, she will decisively come out. The reason for choosing to participate in this variety show is to calm down and continue to polish her acting skills. She has not taken any other jobs during this period, which is inconsistent with the crazy money-making behavior. Obviously she no longer listens to her uncle and mother. So I wanted to get in touch and give it a try. As long as she has a clear mind, she should know that the family workshop is not suitable for her and she needs a better agent. After saying that, Pei Mingxian raised her chin proudly. Pei Mingxian is really interested in Sun Man. She has acted in all kinds of dramas at a young age, and she has the most intelligent acting skills among the new stars. After coming to this variety show, it can be seen that she truly loves acting and does not want to just make quick money and cut leaks. Pei Mingxian already has Yuroyan in her hands, and with a completely different type of Sun Man, she can basically take over the heroines in most film and television works. Then, all the popular dramas may belong to her. Pei Mingxian, which makes me excited just thinking about it. Of course it's not enough. It seems that Sister Pei really likes Sun Man, and I like her too, Qin Rong said with a smile. Pei Mingxian nodded and said, I like children who are talented and ambitious, who want to work hard, who are not afraid of hardship or tiredness, who are diligent and willing to work. Jifei. No, what do you mean by glancing at me every time you say a word? Why are you still wearing a pulley? Qin Chao and Qin Rong couldn't help laughing. After all, they both knew that Sister Pei also wanted to praise Jifei. Apart from other conditions, Jifei really has a good background and has whatever resources she wants at her fingertips. Once her identity is exposed, no one dares to take advantage of her. Moreover, she is a rare persona of a wealthy wife. She can also market the love of a wealthy family, and her husband is so handsome. How amazing! It was a novel way, she really wanted to try it. Pei Mingxian couldn't help but said, it has only been a week since Yuroyan came to me, and she has already joined the set to film, and she has also received several endorsements, more work, more reward. No matter how hard you swing your invisible whip, my cow and horse will not move, because my dream is to get something for nothing. Listening to Jifei's confident voice, Qin Chao and Qin Rong finally couldn't help but burst into laughter. What are you laughing at? Pei Mingxian asked. Jifei also looked at the person behind him strangely. Qin Chao quickly changed the subject, you just said you wanted to poach people, but now you don't. Pei Mingxian said, it's not that I don't want to, it's that if the proposal succeeds today, Sun Man will have Teacher Lu as his backer, and there will be no need to find anyone else to cooperate. Hearing what she said, Jifei and the other three smiled mysteriously. What? Pei Mingxian didn't know why. Qin Rong couldn't help but gossiped, Sun Man will definitely not agree. Why? Jifei also looked at Qin Rong in surprise. After all, in her knowledge, others didn't know anything. When Qin Rong was asked, she immediately panicked and looked at Qin Chao for help. Qin Chao could only add, oh, because I just got a secret message from Gao Hao. What? Now not only Pei Mingxian, but also Jifei came over curiously. Qin Chao's mouth twitched and he could only continue to use Gao Hao, who had already gone abroad to arrange work in advance. Gao Hao told me that Lang Zhe is a gambler and he lent Sun Man 10 million but hasn't paid it back. It's probably because of this that we broke up. Pei Mingxian was shocked. She didn't even know such big news. Jifei nodded, sure enough, If you don't want others to know, you have to do it yourself. If Gao Hao knows about it, then others will know about it sooner or later. If Peng Li knows about it, will he think of her losing her pearl necklace? If you think about it, will you wonder how he hid it at the time? No, it feels disgusting and makes me want to laugh. When I see Lang Jie later, I'm really afraid that I'm looking at something I shouldn't be staring at. Qin Xiao, Qin Rong, Ye Xiao. Don't remind us. Just as they walked to the studio hall, they saw the stage lights shining on a man in a suit from a distance. The man had his back to them and was directing everyone to decorate. And the three people couldn't help but let their eyes fall where they shouldn't. Window. Tabula equals window. Tabula. Tabula.push, mode, thumbs feed -01, container, tabula below article thumbnail -300x250, placement, below article thumbnail -300x250, target. Type, mix. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. After the wife of a wealthy family was read by her mind, the melon field was full of wild animals. Author, Yuze. Chapter 156. Lang Jie's appearance is quite good. Dressed up a little more formally, he really looks like a handsome young man who is nervously preparing to propose marriage. People should not be judged by their appearance. Just by looking at their appearance, you will really feel that his three views are as upright as his facial features. Pei Mingxian said, "Now that I am proposing, is it because I have changed my past and is ready to pursue true love again?" Haha. As soon as he heard haha, he knew that Sister Pei would not be easily fooled. The gambler will quit gambling and the man's words are trustworthy. They are absolute lies. This kid won two at once. It can be basically concluded that all of this is false. Pei Mingxian analyzed coldly, "I want to deceive Sun Man." "I agree, let me see this kid." Ji Fei, who saw people, could finally eat melon. Qin Chao and Qin Rong on the side also became excited. "I knew it. This kid owes another 50 million in gambling debts. And I have been warned about debt collection." Qin Chao and Qin Rong looked at Lang Jie on the stage with twitching corners of their mouths. They saw that he even had a happy smile on his face and was still shy after being congratulated. As long as he gets married, he can use Sun Man's property. Sun Man has been working hard and the commercial value of his salary is very high. He feels that Sun Man will definitely be able to cover his debts. "The abacus beads are going to fall off my face. How dare you think about it? Where do you get the confidence to think that someone who has been deceived by you will still marry you and help you pay off your debts?" Qin Chao and Qin Rong also thought it was very ridiculous. It must be too whimsical. They randomly found a seat in the auditorium and sat down, waiting to eat. "Tisk, why is there still a live broadcast?" Pei Mingxian saw it with sharp eyes and quickly warned, "I don't even have to remind you, please pay attention." Only then did Ji Fei notice that in addition to professional camera crews on the stage, some of the people helping were holding up their mobile phones. "Good guy, if you are rejected, wouldn't it be in front of the entire network? Is he blindly confident, or is he convinced that Sun Man has a soft character and deliberately kidnaps him morally?" Both Qin Chao and Qin Rong felt that the possibility of moral kidnapping was higher. Probably the director and producer also discovered it and quickly arranged for someone to come forward to ask about the situation. Those people looked like they were in the rap circle because of their attire, and they were here to cheer Lang Jie up. Live broadcasting is not explicitly prohibited, and since it has already been live broadcasted, it would not be good for them to ask for it to be shut down. In the end, the producers and directors just thought of it as a warm-up for the next program, even though their program no longer needed a warm-up. Ji Fei took out her mobile phone and started looking for the live broadcast room. After all, they were sitting far away in the audience and couldn't hear the people on the stage. It would be much better to have the live broadcast room to assist. There were not many people in the rapper's live broadcast room at the beginning, but as the live broadcast progressed, many people realized that this was my acting skills. Jam Studio, the person being proposed to is still Sun Man in the next episode, and the popularity of the live broadcast suddenly soared. Everyone came in to watch the fun. The flowers arranged here are said to be liked by my sister-in-law. My brother, please be careful. Lang Jie really likes Sun Man. He will propose a surprise for Sun Man later. I have never seen him take so much trouble. I have really made up my mind to spend my life with him. Probably because I saw many questions floating on the barrage in the live broadcast room. Didn't Sun Man and Lang Jie break up? When did they reconcile? Why did it progress to marriage? When did the plot fast forward? Breaking up doesn't mean that the two of them are in love. What's more, my aunt now quite approves of my sister-in-law. It sounds like the reason for the breakup was because of Teacher Lu, a picky mother-in-law. Ji Fei checked it a bit. Oh. It turned out to be an accomplice of a gambler. No wonder he was so shameless and full of lies. Qin Chao and Qin Rong also watched the live broadcast, and it was really disgusting to see that man looking like he wanted to help his brother get his future wife. More importantly, we, Lang Jie, have already received the support of our future in-law's family. Now my sister-in-law's mother and uncle are helping to hide it from my sister-in-law. Everyone is waiting to witness the romantic proposal. After being deceived by such a trick, the barrage quickly passed the blessing words. The young couple finally overcome all difficulties. These two people actually agreed? Why do I remember that when Sun Man and Lang Jie were dating, these two people were too unhappy? Pei Mingxian asked doubtfully. Ji Fei also felt strange. I was not happy at first because I was afraid that Sun Man would get married after falling in love, and then he would not be under their control, and he would no longer be a cash cow now. Qin Chao and Qin Rong were listening curiously when they heard someone shouting, "Quiet, people are coming." The scene fell silent for an instant, the headlights went out, and only the candles on the ground lit up. Suddenly a leisurely a cappella song came from Lang Jie singing a lyrical song. After all, he is still a singer, and his singing skills are no problem, but his sweet love songs sound very fake to the ears of Ji Fei and others. At this time, someone was stepping on the road paved with candlelight. It seemed that they didn't want to leave halfway, but they were pulled to continue walking. Until the end of the candlelight, a person kneeling on one knee could be vaguely seen. In an instant, all the lights were turned on and the people watching on the stage cheered. Ji Fei saw that Sun's mother was holding Sun Man on the stage, and Sun's uncle was following behind. Teacher Lu also appeared on the other side of the stage and watched silently. In the live broadcast room, you can see closer shots. I only saw a natural heroine's face, without technology or hard work, with black hair and black eyes, natural and sweet, but at this moment, it was stiff and blue, and her expression was ugly. But Lang Jie didn't realize it, or didn't care at all. His face was full of affection, and he said, "Manman, I was wrong, I was really wrong. You know that I love you very much. I can't live without you. I was also confused at the beginning to make you unhappy, but you swear, I will do whatever you ask me to do from now on. I will never do anything you don't ask me to do. I have already dealt with all the troubles and problems. Please give me another chance." After saying that, Lang Jie held up the ring box and took out the female ring inside, his tone almost choked with excitement. "Sun Man, please marry me. I know you have always wanted a family, and I want to give you a family and become the family that loves you the most. We will have children in the future, and we will definitely have a warm family. I swear, I won't let you down this time." Outsiders didn't know what he meant, and could only assume that the relationship between mother-in-law and daughter-in-law was at odds, and that he, as the middleman, had not adjusted it well. But Sun Man, Ji Fei, and his party knew that he was talking about quitting gambling. It seems like a person who has completely changed his past is trying to save his love. You can even see his pious eyes and twinkling tears in the live broadcast room. Nima, you know people but not their hearts with such acting skills. It would be a shame for you not to be an actor. Ji-Fei couldn't help complaining in her heart, just like Sister Pei said, a man's mouth and gambling ghost, double buff, that's not a lie, that's a lie, I swear to suck every drop of your blood. After The Wife of a Wealthy Family was read by her mind, the melon field was full of wild animals. Author, Yuze. Chapter 157. After Lang Zhe finished speaking, he looked at Sun Man with an affectionate expression. He always knew what Sun Man wanted most. Sun Man lost her father when she was a child and lived with her mother in her maternal grandfather's house. The grandfather's family valued boys over girls. Her mother was a supporter. You can imagine how she grew up in an environment lacking love. She was bound by her original family and wanted to. I am separated but kidnapped by morality. I always feel powerless. When she was dating Lang Zhe, she said that she didn't need to marry a rich man. She just wanted to have a warm home and someone who truly loved and respected her to be by her side. She also wanted children. She will treat her children well and want to fill the home with laughter. In fact, Sun Man said this to summon up a lot of courage to hint to Lang Zhe that she was different from other actresses in that she was willing to get married early because she just wanted to be an actress, not a star, and the purpose of acting was not to make money. But Lang Zhe avoided this topic. The reason why he dated Sun Man was actually because Sun Man was a completely stupid girl emotionally. Even if he discovered his secret, he would not tell it and expose him. It was safer and moreover, he was willing to spend money for him obediently. Although he liked Sun Man, he didn't want to make a decision so early. But he didn't expect Sun Man to break up with him as soon as he found out he was gambling. Lang Zhe was very disdainful at first, thinking that Sun Man only had money in his eyes, and that he really loved him and wanted to have a family with him was just talk. But when he was cornered, he realized that only Sun Man would be willing to help him. Then he would give Sun Man the most irresistible thing, so that this silly girl would definitely come back to him obediently. Moreover, Sun Man has a strong sense of family. As long as she gets married, even if she discovers the truth, she will diligently help pay off her debts. To put it harshly, she is the kind of person who lives a hard life. Lang Zhe thought confidently in his heart. Sun Man in front of him was stunned, so he reached out to hold Sun Man's hand and put a ring on her. As a result, the next second, Sun Man's hand suddenly withdrew. Lang Zhe almost stumbled and fell down, then looked up in surprise and saw Sun Man looking at him with a frown. His originally sweet face was gradually becoming angry at this moment. The people around him became embarrassed and quiet at that moment. Ji-Fei pinched her thighs frantically to prevent herself from laughing out loud in the quiet hall. Turning around, he found Qin Chao and Qin Rong pinching their thighs, but Pei Mingxian raised her eyebrows and suddenly became very interested. The barrage in the live broadcast room on the mobile phone was chaotic for a moment. What's going on? Has Lang Zhe been rejected? Based on the atmosphere created by the anchor just now, I thought everything would fall into place. Are you shy? Or do you want to say something else? Anyway, netizens are confused. As a result, the next second I heard Sun Man say, "What on earth are you doing? I thought we had made it clear that we had broken up." Lang Zhe's expression changed, and his smile became very stiff and forced. "Manman, are you still angry with me? Didn't you understand what I just said?" "I understand, but it has nothing to do with me." "We have broken up," Sun Man said firmly. Lang Zhe looked at Sun Man in disbelief. He felt that he understood the girl's heart very well. Sun Man's reaction was completely beyond his imagination. Don't you want a home? I'm willing to give it to you." "You are willing to give it, but I don't want it," Sun Man said lightly. "People want a home, So why don't you give them a dilapidated building? Qin Chao and Qin Rong continued to hold back their laughter. Lang Zhe thinks he has a handle on little girls' psychology. In fact, he doesn't know that if a girl who lacks love is a smart type, once she wakes up, her sensitivity and timidity will form the greatest defense mechanism and she will be determined to keep away from all harmful items, otherwise she wouldn't be able to resist Uncle Sun and Mama Sunday. Qin Chao and Qin Rong probably understood, and at the same time they breathed a sigh of relief. Fortunately, Sun Man was firm enough and was not blinded by the man's hypocrisy. Lang Zhe was probably stunned by Sun Man's successive rejections, and for a moment he didn't know what to say. After all, when they broke up, he begged Sun Man not to expose his gambling affairs, and Sun Man agreed. Even though the bad media later spread rumors that the reason for her breakup was that she cheated on the actor in the cohabitation group, she did not use his secret to defend herself. Prove. Such a stupid woman should be easy to coax. Why is this happening? At this time, the two people who had been surrounding Sun Man jumped out. Sun's mother has a pair of triangular eyes and a very mean face. Sun Man, when we were not allowed to date you, you quarreled with us for him. Now you refuse to marry someone and you are still angry? Such a good partner, if you lose your temper, you will regret it. Uncle Sun, who was full of fat brains, also snorted and said, Sun Man, it's okay to quarrel with your man occasionally. Don't let your man get off the stage in front of so many people. Xiao Lang is so sincere. It would be very disrespectful for you to quarrel with him at this time. Be sensible. Sun Man seemed to finally realize something. He looked at them in disbelief and said, do you want me to marry him? Why? In the past, they had always said that they wanted her to find a rich husband and marry her into a wealthy family, but Lang Zhe was not considered a wealthy family. The two looked at each other uncomfortably, and Sun Ma said, of course we are here for your happiness. You are already so old. As elders, we just want to see you happy. Nothing else matters. Uncle Sun also tried to put on a friendly smile and said, Xiao Lang is sincere to you. We are relieved to leave you to him. Sun Man's eyes widened as if she didn't know them. These days, she has been in a cold war with them because she always disobeyed their behavior. This sudden concern caught Sun Man off guard. Sun Man, who was rarely treated like this by her closest relatives, shook her eyes and softened her expression slightly, but she would not change her decision. I am not suitable for him. After saying this, she was about to leave here, but was stopped by Sun's mother and uncle on the left and right. Daughter, think about it again. We all think Xiao Lang is good and support you to be together. Ji Fei and his group were really stunned watching this scene. Pei Mingxian said directly, if they knew that the cash cow was cheated of 10 million, would they still help like this? I always feel that they don't want Sun Man to be happy like this. What they said is really uncomfortable, Qin Rong also said. Qin Chao sneered, the concern is fake, and the unconscious underestimation of Sun Man is real. Ji Fei sneered in his heart. People who are only interested in profit naturally focus on profit. It's just that the money-making tool began to rebel and wanted to take back the financial power, and they felt that they couldn't control Sun Man. It happened that Lang Zhe came to assure them that as long as they could get married, not only would they not ask for a dowry, but they would also give them a lot of betrothal gifts, and they would definitely persuade Sun Man to reconcile with them and become the obedient and filial daughter she used to be. After the wife of a wealthy family was read by her mind, the melon field was full of wild animals. Author, Yu. Chapter 158. Qin Chao and Qin Rong heard it and suddenly realized that it was profitable. At the same time, they were disgusted. The close relatives and the old lover were calculating this honest and hard-working girl. They were really in cahoots. No, to be precise, it was the gambler who calculated everything. Sun's mother and uncle were also stupid. They actually believed Lang Zhe and were used as a knife. With this IQ, it's no wonder that they can't run Sun Man's studio well. I guess they are full of money. Ji-Fei's voice soon verified their thoughts. I was really blinded by their black hearts. They felt that the rebellious Sun Man was no longer obedient. If she married a powerful person, she would be even less obedient. It's better to be Lang Zhe in front of them. After all, Lang Zhe has always been a person who is easy to talk to and well educated. In their impression, they once quarreled with Sun Man, and Lang Zhe mediated it and asked Sun Man to apologize to them on her own initiative. He seemed to respect his elders, so at this critical period, they chose to settle for the second best and let Sun Man marry Lang Zhe to regain control of Sun Man. Uncle Sun is like this, I won't comment, and Mom Sun is like this too, I really am. Feeling Ji-Fei's speechlessness, Qin Xiao and Qin Rong were the same. The last time I saw weird parents was Chu Xinyu's parents. If the parents of the twins were biased, it was disgusting enough. This kind of mother who sucked the blood of her only daughter for her own family was even more outrageous. If Sun Man wasn't good at making money, I'm afraid she would have been sold for the bride price if it wasn't for the marriage of her uncle's son. Qin Chao and Qin Rong were about to say that it wouldn't be that bad, and her mother wouldn't go to someone else's family even if she was so mean. Then they knew what it meant, that there was no weirdest, only weirder. Damn. Has there really been such a situation? At the beginning, Sun Man almost didn't go to the film academy because art schools were expensive. The inheritance left by her father was what her mother was going to lend to her uncle's son to study abroad, so she wanted Sun Man to apply for an ordinary university. The reason given to Sun Man was that she had a brother who would become rich in the future and be her backer. Is this for her own good? And they also helped her find a family, and the boy from that family was studying in the same university, and asked her to help take care of the son in school, and asked the family to give the gift in advance, so that the nephew could go to a better school. No, this was to give his nephew a bright future, and let his daughter be a nanny for others in school. The reason was that she was beautiful and afraid of being bullied, so they arranged it for her in advance, and let her fiancé protect her in school. Qin Chao and Qin Rong were dumbfounded. Fortunately, they dared to kidnap Sun Man with family affection at most, and fooled people with the high-sounding reason of for your own good, but did not dare to really force Sun Man, so Sun Man secretly made her own application and secretly signed up, and those plans could only be left unfinished. The two of them breathed a sigh of relief, and then they felt a little disappointed. Even in this situation, Sun Man did not break off relations with these close relatives. She even let them jump around her. It can only be said that her family affection brain can also make people angry. But blood ties are still hard to sever after all. No one is Sun Man, and no one knows her definition of emotional needs. Maybe she thinks that she is strong, and those people will only be good relatives around her. The only thing to be thankful for is that Sun Man is not a patient with late-stage emotional brain, and there is still the possibility of self-help. At least now, even if she is persuaded like this, Sun Man will not change her mind. She is trying her best to be responsible for her own life. Seeing that Uncle Sun and Mother Sun could not persuade her for a long time, Lang Zhe also came back to his senses. Immediately, he said affectionately, "Manman, I know you are still angry with me. It doesn't matter, you can punish me in any way you want, or ask me to swear and promise, anything is fine, as long as you give me a chance. Marry me, we can go to get the certificate today, and you will witness my changes in the future, okay?" At this time, Lang Zhe gave his brother a look, and his brother immediately took the lead in shouting, "Marry him, marry him, marry." The surrounding people began to boo. In fact, many people were completely led by the rhythm, and the background music sounded along. The live broadcaster even connected the live broadcast room to the big screen. At a glance, most of the comments were cheering, "Marry him, marry him." Sun's mother and uncle pushed Sun Man. The atmosphere was pushed to a climax for a while. Sun Man saw everything and felt pressured. Looking around, there was no one standing on her side. Fei and others were really powerless to complain, as if a good girl was being pushed into a fire pit by a group of people. Lang Zhe knew that Sun Man was thin-skinned and soft-hearted, so he smiled and said, "Look, your mother and uncle, as well as my mother, and so many friends agree that we are together." Lang Zhe pointed to Teacher Lu standing in the corner. Lu Fei's hair was tied up high, looking serious and solemn. Seeing his son pointing at him, he frowned slightly but didn't say anything. "I still fantasize about you performing together as a real mother-in-law and daughter-in-law relationship next," Lang Zhe said happily. Sun Man's face changed slightly, and she remembered that if she refused at this time, the relationship between her and Teacher Lu that had finally eased would be ruined. Then the recording of the program later, should she deal with it first and then make it clear when no one is around? Lang Zhe saw that Sun Man was a little relentless, and immediately continued, "This is broadcast live to all netizens. Do you have the heart to be angry with me at this time and leave such a beautiful memory with regrets? Man, I love you. Marry me." Sun Man's face turned pale. If she could deal with it now, everyone would be happy and there would be no need to make it too ugly. She would just not get married later. However, her reason told her that she shouldn't do this and should explain it clearly on the spot. It was very strange. She felt as if she was coerced, but she felt guilty for no reason. But soon, when Lang Zhe wanted to pull her hand to put the ring on her again, Sun Man's eyes changed, and she followed her heart and pulled her hand back. Unexpectedly, she was rejected again. Lang Zhe immediately became angry and grabbed it hard. Sun Man couldn't pull her hand back, and immediately said without hesitation, "I don't want it." Although the background music was very festive and loud, Sun Man's roar was still heard by the whole audience, and it was even clearer in the live broadcast room. "Sun Man, don't be willful," Lang Zhe was really angry and almost gritted his teeth. Others were about to say something. Teacher Lu frowned and walked forward, trying to pull his son away. Suddenly, the background music was turned off, and the scene was instantly quiet. A voice sounded faintly. "Hey? Our country's marriage law should not allow forced marriages against women's will, right? Why?" She said the word no. "Did you not understand? Or could you not hear it? I thought this kind of thing only happened to those victims who were abducted into the mountains, but I didn't expect to see a live version." You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. After the wife of a wealthy family was read by her mind, the melon field was full of wild animals. Author, Xuanhuan. Chapter 159. These sarcastic words instantly disrupted Lang Zhe's rhythm and gave Sun Man a chance to break free. Others also looked at the place where the sound came from in shock. How could someone say such ugly words when proposing? At first glance, it turned out to be quiet. At this time, the barrage has begun to change the direction of the trend. After all, there are many fans of the show in the live broadcast room now, and they can immediately tell who the strange voice is, and it seems that they can invisibly see someone slapping the face. No need to turn the camera around. They knew that the internal entertainment judge was coming. His mind, which seemed to be overwhelmed by the booing, suddenly came to his senses. My sister Fei can't even stand it? Everyone said no. Do you really think this is a refusal to welcome me? How come your program team is so exciting both inside and outside the show? I wanted to witness a proposal, but I didn't want to witness a forced marriage. I thought it was strange from the beginning. We haven't gotten back together yet, and then suddenly we proposed? Is it reasonable? Excuse me, those of you who like surprise proposals, could you clarify your position in advance? Why do you think that when someone has no intention of marrying you, as long as you beg to warm up the atmosphere, they will agree in a daze? What's the difference between pointing a sword at someone's neck and asking if they love you or not? How can things like getting married be done in a hurry? Please wake up. I support Miss Sun Man. A good horse never turns back. There must be reasons why we broke up in the first place. It cannot be changed with the passage of time. Because Ji Fei took the lead, more and more rational analyses appeared. In the end, the barrage in the live broadcast room turned into a watery she said no. It's really a different kind of spectacular. What are you doing? Sun Ma asked anxiously. How can you ruin other people's happy events? My daughter just can't save face. Uncle Sun also looked at them displeased. Even if the other party was very popular now, he couldn't say such things when he was proposing. Lang Jie frowned and looked at them. He didn't know yet about his godmother's encounter with the Qin family. He only knew that his godmother had a relationship with the Qin family, so he couldn't help but said, I don't know where I offended you, but I hope you will. Don't disturb us. Ha, it seems that you really ignored Teacher Sun's wishes. Qin Chao sneered directly and said to Sun Man, Teacher Sun, do you want to call the police for you? Everyone was shocked, they didn't expect Qin Chao to speak so harshly. Sun Man came back to his senses and said immediately, Teacher Ji, Teacher Qin, thank you for speaking for me. When Sun Man said this, he looked at Lang Jie and said, I am just refusing. After the breakup, it is impossible for me to have anything to do with you. Your current behavior has caused a burden to me. Please stop. I have made it clear enough. Mother Sun and Uncle Sun wanted to say something else, but Sun Man turned to look at them and said, you have no power to decide my life. I said I won't marry, are you still going to force me? The surroundings became completely quiet, and the embarrassment spread invisibly. Lang Jie looked at Sun Man blankly, his face gradually becoming very embarrassed, obviously knowing Sun Man's determination. But Lang Jie was unwilling to give in. That was 50 million. How could he pay it back? He wanted to say something more, but Lu Fei grabbed his arm. That's enough. It would be rude to keep insisting. Lang Jie froze, completely suppressed by his bloodline, and did not dare to make any mistakes. Lu Fei met Sun Man's uneasy eyes, nodded, and said softly, actually, I don't think my son is worthy of you. If you refuse, just refuse. Don't worry. Sun Man didn't expect that Lu Fei's attitude had not changed at all. His tense heart immediately relaxed and he nodded respectfully to Lu Fei. Lu Fei then said to Lang Jie, clean up this place and leave with your friends. We have delayed the staff here for too long. Lang Jie raised his head and glanced at his mother with some resentment, but in the end he could only obey. After all, it has been broadcast live, and no matter how embarrassing it is, it will only be me. In order to avoid embarrassment, Lu Fei directly took Sun Man's hand and led her off the stage to the director and producer. It seems that Teacher Lu likes Sun Man more than his own son. Ji Fei smiled and said, she is a fair mother. Qin Rong said, if Sun Man is willing, Teacher Lu should really want this daughter-in-law. I saw Teacher Lu being very serious when teaching Sun Man. Qin Chao stood up and said, okay, the show is over, let's go. But when he turned around, he found that Pei Mingxian hadn't gotten up yet, so he shouted. Pei Mingxian stood up with her phone in hand and glanced at Ji Fei with some resentment, you are on the hot search again. Ji Fei was stunned and smiled awkwardly. Did I do something wrong? Pei Mingxian put away her phone and said, good things are certainly right, but you really dare to take risks. Ji Fei knew what Pei Mingxian meant, but she didn't know what was going on behind the scenes, so she would have a little suspicion, whether it was a hard-to-get approach to refusing the marriage. If she begged and begged to agree, then Ji Fei who said such things would be wrong inside and outside. Not human anymore. Sometimes Pei Mingxian would be really frightened by Ji Fei's sudden behavior. Directors and producers also have the same idea as Pei Mingxian. I was afraid that the two groups would have a conflict before the show even started. However, compared with the previous ones, today was just a casual one. They accepted it well, but they were very surprised that the proposal was rejected. What they should worry about now is whether teacher Lu and Sun Man can work together well in the future. Soon they sat together, and the director and producer selected the theme of the next show by drawing lots. Ji-Fei really suspected that this world was just a huge makeshift team. Isn't it too deliberate to choose the theme of home? Combined with what happened today, the internet must be blown up. Who are the directors and producers pointing at? Well, their foreheads were sweating, and they obviously didn't expect it to be so coincidental. Ha ha ha, I laughed so hard, I guess my heart and liver were trembling. Qin Chao and Qin Rong also wanted to laugh, but they were embarrassed to laugh. Teacher Lu looked calm and thought about the theme at the first time. Sun Man was naturally uncomfortable. After shooting some more discussion clips, today's mission was over. When they dispersed, they found that Lang Zhe's proposal team had left, and he was standing at the end of the aisle with Sun's mother and uncle waiting for someone. Seeing this, Ji-Fei quickly pulled their group together, waiting for Sun Man and Lu Fei behind them to overtake them. Others who were already familiar with Ji-Fei's operation naturally knew that they were waiting to watch the show. Well, they also wanted to watch it, so their steps involuntarily became moving. What they didn't expect was that Lu Fei and Sun Man also separated. Lu Fei continued to move forward, but Sun Man stopped and seemed to want to talk to them. Sun Man was a very grateful person. For what happened just now, she still thanked him again and again, because she understood that this was also for her to offend people. You have to refuse to the end, Ji-Fei said with a smile. Sun Man didn't expect Ji-Fei to say this, and smiled with her eyes curved. Well, I will. Pei Mingxian on the side seized the opportunity and took out a business card and stuffed it into Sun Man. Sun Man was stunned. Pei Mingxian smiled and said, if you want to play more and better roles, if you want to study the role wholeheartedly, if you don't want to be exploited anymore, you may need a professional agent. Welcome to our studio. Our studio's current purpose is to open up a bright road for female actors. Qin Chao. When did the purpose come about? Ji-Fei, ha ha ha, Sister Pei's Amway slogan is too embarrassing. Window. Tabula equals window. Tabula. Tabula.push, mode, thumbs feed -01, container, tabula below article thumbnail -300x250, placement, below article thumbnail -300x250, target. Type, mix. After the wife of a wealthy family was read by her mind, the melon field was full of wild animals. Author, Xuanhuan. Chapter 160. Lu Fei had already walked over, and Sun's mother and Uncle Sun actually smiled and took the initiative to say hello. Lang Zhe looked at Sun Man in the distance with pity, and then said, Mom, let's have a meal together later. Lu Fei frowned and said, when did I teach you to disrespect women so much? When did I? I don't have a tacit understanding with you at all, and I'm not trying to show off my temper. Where did you get the courage to propose in public? You think you're touching others, but you're actually touching yourself. You're making things so difficult for others. How do you respect women? She rejected me, she made things difficult for me. She disrespected me. Lu Fei frowned deeply. What? Your outlook is distorted and your brain is broken. She found that this son was really becoming more and more strange. Although he was not outstanding or brainless before, he was obedient and obedient. Now he does all kinds of weird things. Mom, I am your son. Since you also like Sun Man, why don't you? Lang Zhe couldn't help but asked angrily. Because she is not the kind of girl who can be stalked. I don't care why you lost her, but I know that you are already out in her heart. Lu Fei is still very good at judging people. Such a soft-tempered girl will not give up on someone easily, but once she gives up, she will not look back. My mother-in-law, what you said? As soon as Sun Ma opened her mouth, she looked over at Lu Fei with a frown. Her serious expression and majestic aura made Sun Ma choke. "Who is your biological mother?" "Don't yell, are you her biological mother?" Lu Fei asked directly. Sun Ma's face suddenly flashed with discomfort. "Of course. Then you should act like a real mother. This is the first time I've seen you not caring about your daughter. You have a good daughter, so cherish it." Lu Fei has a high status in the circle and has a military background. So she always spoke straight to the point, without turning around at all, which made Sun Ma blush. Uncle Sun on the side quit. "Hey, don't think it's our family that's trying to get you, it's your son who wants to marry our family, Sun Man." Lu Fei glanced at Uncle Sun and didn't even want to say a word to him. He said directly to Lang Jie, "Let's go home with me." Lang Jie still wanted to freeze, but Lu Fei scolded him, and finally relied on blood to suppress him, so that Lang Jie could no longer pester Sun Man. It wasn't until they walked away that Sun Man breathed a sigh of relief and said goodbye to Ji Fei and the others. "I wish everyone a smooth last performance," Sun Man said with a smile. "Don't worry, the internal entertainment judge won't be able to judge you," Pei Mingxian said with a smile. "She has already shown her power." Everyone was amused, but Ji Fei looked innocent. They have indeed shown off their power. After all, today's hot search on the internet was once again taken over by them. The Qin family didn't get to eat melon until they returned home. Qin's father and mother, who had the least time, immediately regretted missing the excitement of the scene. After the family finished dinner, they started watching the replay of the live proposal. People who have seen it go online to continue eating. Lang Jie's friends in the rap circle all stood up to support Lang Jie. They felt that Sun Man had let down the sincerity of others and deliberately posted a scene of Lang Jie getting heartbroken and getting drunk and shouting Sun Man's name. Many netizens in the rap circle also stood up. When he came out to talk, some people even started to attack Sun Man, saying that Sun Man was pretending to be Jiao. And use those scandals in the past that are fake and can no longer be fake as excuses. However, they obviously underestimated the public netizens. They didn't need Sun Man to speak out, and they were not even Sun Man's fans. Netizens directly scolded him. "Stop being morally kidnapped here. Netizens won't accept this now. Our internal entertainment judge said you were wrong. Are you unconvinced? If you are sad, if you are sincere, that is all your business. The rule for adults is not to involve others in your own affairs. You post this kind of video on your WeChat moments. Are we familiar with it? Post it and let us evaluate it. Looking for someone who can empathize with you? There are not many people as self-righteous and shameless as you." In the end, the person who posted the scolding post deleted it directly. The final situation is that netizens ridiculed Lang Jie one-sidedly. "Who asked you to propose without asking people in advance? If the proposal fails and the marriage ends miserably, you are not worthy of sympathy." Sun Man was obviously still affected. When they met for the first rehearsal, he was all black and blue, but he still greeted them warmly. Ji Fei checked and found that Sun Ma, Uncle Sun, and Lang Jie were still brainwashing her. "But it was much better when I encountered it later, and I should have adjusted myself." It can be seen that there is no barrier between Lu Fei and Sun Man, just like a pair of teachers and students, one teaches seriously and the other studies seriously. When Yu Royan came to assist in the performance, she sighed. Before, the internet was still speculating on how they would get along with each other in the future. I can only say that netizens underestimate women. What's so strange about women helping women? Seeing such harmony, the director and producer were finally relieved. Of course, what made them even more relieved was that the script submitted by the top team was finally no longer a secret script. It is said that when they received the script, the director and producer cheered directly with tears in their eyes, as if the bell finally rang for a peaceful old age. Ji Fei also met Sun Man and Pei Mingxian chatting in the corridor. Obviously Pei Mingxian is continuing Amway, and seeing Sun Man's reaction is also very exciting. In fact, She also knew that it was time to get rid of the pests around her. She would fulfill her support obligations, but she would not let them affect her life anymore. Pei Mingxian came back for the last time and told them that they were almost certain. It was also agreed that the contract would be signed after the stage was over. The script of Sun Man's group is about a mother and daughter's home, the great maternal love, the filial piety of the children, and the warm script of two women working together to make life better and better. It is also used to prove that children from single-parent families should not be labeled. The script was carefully selected by Sun Man. In fact, it is also her inner desire. She probably wants to have such a family. When she grows up like this, she does not need the so-called support of her mother's family. As long as the mother and daughter are close to each other, they can grow up to be loved. Teacher Lu was also very satisfied with the script. When he heard that Sun Man was going to disband the studio and join Ji Fei and others, he also supported her very much and promised to ask for help if she needed any help. Until the day before the live broadcast of the show, all the peace and tranquility was broken by an urgent online report. Sun Man was found to have taken an overdose of sleeping pills and was being rushed to the hospital for emergency treatment. Hashtag. When seeing this news, Ji Fei and Qin Chao were still in the studio. Pei Mingxian was the first to receive the news and was stunned immediately. How could someone who was fine the day before suddenly have an accident? Pei Mingxian suspected that she had a conflict with her family over the contract and was killed, so she wanted to call the police. Ji Fei suddenly pulled Pei Mingxian with a heavy face and said, "It should be, she wants to commit suicide. Let's go to the hospital." Qin Chao looked at Ji Fei in surprise, and heard Ji Fei cursing in his heart. "Damn, Langjie, you are such a beast." Window. Tabula equals window. Tabula. Tabula.push, mode, thumbspeed -01, container, tabula below article thumbnail -300x250, placement, below article thumbnail -300x250, target. Type, mix.